G'day and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Golfing Greenkeeper podcast. My name is Steve Smith and I'm your host. As you know, it's time to do a lap of our corner of the world as we look at the news from Australia and New Zealand on this segment of Dint Golf Solutions, Walking the Fairways. Now, thanks to partner Dint Golf Solutions for being involved with this segment of Walking the Fairways as we continue our wonderful partnership together. Now, what I do need to let you, ladies and gentlemen out there, know, the ones working on golf courses and golf clubs right around Australia and New Zealand, is that we're getting very close to that special time of the year that it's all about golf course renovations and aerating the golf courses and preparing for the springtime growth as we turn this time of the year and things start to warm up. One of the things that Dint Golf Solutions provide and have available to you are their wonderful tines. And Dint have so many different types of tines available for this time of the year. For any time of the year that you're looking into aeration, they have the standard hollow tines that you often see used for coring, all the different sizes available. They have a solid tines, they have a knife tines, they have ninja tines, they have mini tines. They've got just about every size and shape that you can think of. They even have the Connie Spoon tapered tines. So there's all sorts of different ones available. Here they are available to you. So it's that time of the year to be setting yourselves up and getting ready for. So go and have a look at Dint Golf Solutions website with their tines that they have available for your aeration jobs that you need to have done. Dint.com.au is where you're going to find all the info out. And you can look at all the details of the different types of tines, as I mentioned, on the website. Or you can just give the Dint Golf Solutions team a call. The contact details are on their website, and many of you out there know Adam Dinty as well, and you've probably got his details just the same. So give him a call if you're not sure, and he'll be able to tell you what tines will help you out the most, or even be able to guide you into some of the solutions that you need for some aerating applications that you're looking into right now. Don't waste time thinking about it. Dint Golf Solutions are I'm going to call it, they're your supermarket when it comes to tines for aeration on your turf surfaces. Doesn't matter what type of sports surface you're using them on, they have so many different tines available to solve some of the problems you need the answers for. So hit them up, dint.com.au. It's that time of year, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you check them out. We wait no longer. This is episode number 199. Ladies and gentlemen, it's great to talk to different people from within the greenkeeping industry, and I really want to welcome someone special in here. This is a little bit different. This is going from also within the industry, but was a little bit very much outside the industry on this one. It's a very special, selfless project that's going on, and I want to introduce to you, joining us on the line, Dave Meadows, course foreman from Royal Adelaide Golf Club, but he's currently in the middle of a journey of something special. G'day, Dave. How are you?
Hello, mate. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Dave. Now, I've got you on the podcast, mate. You are right in the midst of something special. You're doing a journey, and we're going to dive into it. I want you to explain this to us. You're doing a journey around, essentially a selfless journey with the family. You're feeding the homeless and disadvantaged people around the country. Summarise to us what you're up to. This is incredible.
All right, sure, yes. Okay. Where do I even start? So basically, we have been feeding the homeless in Adelaide for the last 3 years, since 2023. And we've progressively seeing issues of homelessness getting worse and worse. And I probably should start off by saying, so barbecuing is a bit of a side hobby. It's a bit of a side thing that I'm really interested in. And then, as I said, aside from working at Royal, I do, a bit of low and slow on the side as a bit of a hobby. And then, we've been feeding the homeless in Adelaide since 2023. And then, we've just been seeing the amount of people that we feed go up and up and up. I think the first year in 23, we fed around 30 to 40 people, and then it's just been going upward. And then I think this year, we made Adelaide our first stop on this tour, and we fed over 100.
Wow!
So we're seeing, and it's funny. It's not necessarily homeless. It's people that are just heavily affected by cost of living. who just can't afford to eat. And, you know, we're very, I guess we're very fortunate. You know, I've got a fantastic job at Royal and I love it, you know, there, but not everyone is as fortunate as I am or as us. And, you know, there's some people that are doing it really hard. There's heaps of people out there that aren't necessarily homeless. They've got homes maybe, but just can't afford to eat, you know. So
It's a scary concept for many of us to consider people in those situations, but you're on the front line essentially. Now, this is it's called the Smoke and Soul Project. You touched on the low and slow. I know there's a number of people in our industry that love barbecuing, right? They're right into it, and you are right into it and then some.
Yeah, absolutely. I am into it. Well, sort of what we've found is that charities that I've partnered up with, you know, them themselves are underfunded and undersupported, and you know they're always asking for help and you know volunteers and food help, and the type of food that they usually serve is pretty simple food, like, you know, soup, sandwiches, you know, pretty basic things. And so when I came up with this idea of giving people that are homeless something else, you know, potentially something that they haven't had, you know, low and slow, you know, there's a lot of hours invested in it. You know,
yeah, for sure.
A good 10 to 12 hours to cook some things that fall apart as you eat them.
Yep.
You know, so the feedback that we've had has been awesome. You know, people are just really appreciative of eating something different, eating something special, you know, eating something that they haven't had. So we found the concept, I guess, of barbecue food itself, that idea, you know, to be, you know, as I said, the feedback we've had has been huge, has been excellent. So, you know, so with our numbers, as I said, going up and up, it was the end of we did the barbecue in Adelaide in 2025, and I won't ever forget, there was a man there in his probably late 20s. It was a freezing cold evening in Adelaide, and he didn't have any. He had basically had an old shirt, shorts, didn't have any shoes. His whole life was in a, you know, like in a plastic bag that he was carrying around, and he sort of sheepishly came up and asked if he could have something to eat, and said, "Mate, absolutely, that's why I'm here." And we sent him off with, you know, not only food, but we had some friends of ours put together some hampers with, you know, like a hoodie and some shoes and some pants. And anyway, he got sent away and he was just loaded. And, you know, it was one of those things that just really hit hard. And I thought, this issue's not going anywhere. This issue is getting worse. And I went home, and after that evening, and I thought, I didn't know what else I could do to help. But then it took a bit of time, I guess, and I sort of came up with this idea and pitched it to the family. And I said, "Look, I've got this insane idea," and my wife was like, "Oh yeah, okay, here we go." And I said, "Look, I've been at Royal for 11 years.
Wow.
I said, I've got long service leave, you know, there. It's there to be used." I said, "How would you feel about if I took some leave off work?" Of course, at, you know, Royal at the moment, things are fairly slow. We're just getting by through winter. And we'll sort of, when I get back, it'll be sort of end of August, and we'll get back into it again as things, you know, heat up, you know, as everything heats up again. But so I said, "Look, this is probably a perfect time to, you know, have some leave." And I sort of said, "Look, I've got this idea. Let's take my barbecues. I'm carrying 4 barbecues.
Oh.
Two, like just a couple of hot plate barbecues, and then a big offset smoker, and like a vertical sort of oven sort of thing to you know heat things up." So I've got four things on me, and I said, "Why don't we tow them around and go from town to town, and just with the ambition, I guess, to feed as many people as we possibly can." And, you know, through my, I guess, through looking into it, and you know, there's at any one time there's about 120,000 people in this country who are sleeping rough.
Wow.
And I said, let's just, we obviously can't get around and see all of them, but let's just make it a goal to get around and feed as many people as we can. And then so once the family were on board, went and saw the club at Royal, and I said, look, I'm thinking about having some long service leave, and Royal Adelaide were just, I'm so thankful for their support. They've got not only management, but the club has gotten behind it, and they're following it along as I'm going around, and their members have just been awesome, and they've heaps of them have helped us out. So yeah, I can't speak highly enough of the support I've had from Royal Adelaide.
Wow. That's incredible. And like I said at the beginning, a very selfless act to be able to do this. So you mentioned there you've been doing it for a while in Adelaide, and getting to the point where you spawn this crazy idea, and often it's the craziest ones that become the most impactful as well. Tell us a little bit about how far the journey is overall you planned up.
Yeah, so because we were traveling as a family, as me, my wife, and my two girls. So I've got a 9-year-old and a 5-year-old. When we were trying to put the stops together, I was very conscious of I didn't want to do too many long legs on the road. So I didn't want to exceed 6 hours from town to town. So
yep. Can be very weary on everybody, not just the kids who get a bit loose and a bit wild after a few hours in the car, but back to back, and the whole family all in one. It can become a pretty intense trip in general. So you're conscious of planning that out.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as we've gone around, I've figured out we're at about a 4-hour limit, I reckon, with the girls.
Yep.
After about 4 hours in the car, they start to get over it. But anyway, so we were so I sort of went, okay, from Adelaide, what's 6 hours around from that area, and just sent literally the hundreds of emails and phone calls and trying to get in touch with organisations, and then this is sort of turned into this thing where it was just an idea of us just going around feeding people. And then the charities have come back and said, "Oh, thank you. Like, we are actually we're actually after help also."
Wow.
So then it's turned into us, okay, not only feeding people, but then it's turned into us assisting the charities, and then trying to get the awareness out there of the hundreds of organisations in every state that are doing this every single night. It's all well and good. We sort of show up for one barbecue. But these guys are we're partnered with Vinnie's, the Salvos, heaps of other independently run organisations, and these guys are doing this day in, day out, and they are screaming out for help. And so it's kind of, as I said, it's turned into something bigger than just us turning up and handing out meals. It's turned into us trying to get it out there, and for me as well, like I want to inspire people. Like I want to inspire people in their local town. Like they don't have to do what I'm sort of doing, but if they're sitting at home, listening to this, and they think, I can help out in our, local town, hold up your hand and get in touch with like Vinnie's or Salvos or whoever's, because I can guarantee there's probably an organisation in every town that is feeding people every night, who is after help, is after your help. So, if I can inspire others to just, hold up their hand and help out, that would be awesome.
And mate, that's huge. And in that, there's also probably some clubs out there that are probably thinking how else they can help the community, because lots of clubs do that in general in their regional centres and things like that. They may even be able to assist some of these charities in this particular way, because you are shining a light on these challenges of society, mate, and it's an incredible thing. So tell us a little bit about you're just over halfway now in your journey. How's it been this far, and tell us whereabouts you're at. I'll
tell you how it's been. It's an eye-opener. It is a real eye-opener. We we've seen homelessness in Adelaide, but then when you go from town to town, you see some things that you didn't even sort of occur to you as happening. So currently we're about to do our 12th barbecue tomorrow. We're currently in Tweed Heads.
Okay.
So we've done 11 barbecues up to this point.
Wow.
We've got a couple more going up, and then we'll spin around and we'll start heading home because I've got to get into work again. So
get back to your day job as well. Yeah.
So we've got about another 7 barbecues to go. We've done 12 barbecues up to this point. We've got another 7 to go, and then currently I've been keeping a tally. We've fed around 850 people.
Wow.
who are sleeping rough and who are homeless and who are heavily affected by cost of living. And we've seen, as I said, it's been an eye opener. We've seen families, which is really hard as a father,
mate,
as a parent. When you see a family show up and the kids are looking a bit, rough, and they have, hardly slept, and they're hungry and they haven't eaten. And I think, we obviously serve everyone, but when the families come, we do our best to really load them up and send them off with as much food as we possibly can. And actually, it's funny because one thing I've sort of realised is kids are not really into the whole like low and slow sort of thing. It's a bit too flavoursome for them. So when they've come by, I've had to try and think of something else to put together for them. But yeah, we've always got other things on hand. Other options on hand. It's not only low and slow.
You mentioned there it's an eye opener, and I've got no doubts it'll be earth shattering in many cases.
Yeah.
And the fact that you probably had your experience in Adelaide doing it for the few years previous, I think it was someone like myself or anyone else that's never really experienced or seen the front line of what this means to people, it would be a really confronting situation to see people, like you said, I can't factor that into my brain. That would be a really challenging thing to bear witness to, that part of society that often goes unnoticed. And that's in part what you're doing here, and why I wanted to get you on was to continue to highlight the state of affairs in this particular part of our society.
Yeah, I mean, there's things. This has been an eye opener, and there is people. There's people in higher powers than you or I that need to probably look at how we can fix what is happening with issues, not just homelessness but cost of living. It's not going anywhere. We actually the last stop that we had, we encountered some people that had been impacted from floods. Flood victims. People who when you think of homeless people, you think of people sleeping rough.
Yeah. You
don't think of the people that have been affected by floods over the years, who literally had a home and they lost their home in the floods, and then they're homeless. And
the area that I assume you're talking about is up and through the northern New South Wales, through the Northern Rivers region, which is around the Lismore, Grafton, and so on. Off the top of my head, knowing where you are now, you mentioned at Tweed. That was a number of years ago now. I mean, that's a hard thing to wrap your head around, that it's taken this long, and they're still and people are still in this situation. I mean, talk about difficult.
There's people that we found who lost their home about 3 years ago in the floods, and they've been put into temporary housing that they have to pay for.
Yeah,
and then
wow.
Because they are possibly working, but they have to pay for that, and then they can't afford to eat, and it's sort of that flow on effect. These are young families who, as I said, had homes, lost them, and and they just haven't been able to get back on their feet. And this is going back 3 years.
Yeah, like I said, it's confronting for sure. For people listening to this that probably haven't heard any of these stories since the flooding which was 3 or 4 years ago. I mean, those sorts of things are forgotten unless we continue to talk about it. And this is what you're doing to highlight these cases and the situation, the current state of affairs through many different reasonings and situations that brings it to the fore. So, mate, what have you got planned? Where are you moving on from here? You mentioned you're at Tweed, so you're in the New South Wales-Queensland border. Where's the next few stops along the way? How are we looking?
Yeah, so we got Brisbane coming up next, Maryborough after that. Maryborough is our highest point. And then, as I said, I've got to start heading back at some point. So we'll start heading back, and then we got Toowoomba, and then coming back down to Tamworth, Broken Hill, and then we finish in Port Pirie at the beginning of August, and then we're back in Adelaide about halfway through August.
There you go. What a journey. How far will you cover overall? What will you have done?
Oh, we reckon it's roughly about 7,000 k's.
7,000 kilometres. Yeah. My goodness. And roughly nearly 2 months on the road. Is that about right? 57 days or something you have planned, I think?
Yeah, well, I've used up all my long service leave at the end of this. So, I don't think I'll be having any time off for a while. So, yeah.
Mate, that's an incredible thing that you're doing for so many people, and something that they wouldn't normally get the opportunity to benefit from, and that little bit of relief along the way. There's no doubt, I've got to ask you, what does it mean to you to do something like this? This is incredibly selfless that I hear you doing. What does it mean to you to do this? I mean, you put it all together. You got the family on board. You're doing this thing as a journey with the family and helping so many people. You see them day in, day out. What does it mean to you at the end of the day?
You know what? It's so hard to put my finger on, because at the moment, I'm in the eye of the storm. I'm just sort of taking day in, day out, going to get food, doing a barbecue, feeding people, packing it in, heading off. I don't think I've fully got the full impact of what I've achieved, and I don't think I am going to until after I'm home.
Yeah.
But I'll paint a picture for you though. When yesterday or the day before, I was at a service and feeding people, and I got heaps of high fives and thanks for coming. But when someone shakes your hand, and you and I we've shaken heaps of people's hands in the past. When you shake someone's hand, but you hold it, and you hold it tightly, and you don't let go. I had a couple of people at the past stop, just hold out their hand, and they shook my hand, and they held it firmly for a long time, and they said, thank you for being here, thank you for the effort that you've put in. And that, when you just, those small things that happen, that really hits home hard, and you really just take a minute to sort of think about what we're doing here. And the thing is as well, what I've found is this, I could be serving anything. I mean, I do low and slow barbecue food, but this is actually transcending food. I could be serving anything. People are just so appreciative of just us coming around, being there, putting the effort in, showing that there's just sharing that hope and happiness. And I think that's the best way to put it. When someone shakes your hand and they just hold it and they say thank you, you just know that it really means a lot.
That thank you's got a lot of depth to it.
Oh, 100%.
Right? I mean, I hear you paint that picture, and you did it so well, and I've got to be honest, my eyes are watering up picturing that moment. No, seriously, picturing that moment of deep gratitude for what you're doing, and that you're showing that these people matter, like that they're people and they matter. So you're going out of your way to help them through a difficult time. You're making an effort and a moment in time to make a difference to their day, make a difference to their lives that, people and charities try to do all the other days, but you're making a difference in your own way. And I think that's the other thing. You're doing this in your own way. This is what you enjoy doing, as you mentioned at the beginning, the low and slow, the barbecuing, and the way you go about this is something different for them to take in. You're bringing it to them, and you're going out of your way to change their lives in a moment and give them that bit of hope and have those conversations. And I'm sure it brings a smile to their face, and for that moment that it changes them. And brings them a bit of a momentary relief, I think, from the situation that they're in for that brief period of time, and that's going to be impactful, as I said before, and hopefully, mate, we can get some more eyeballs on it. Tell us a bit about, now you've got a podcast going where people can follow you. You've got a YouTube. How can we support you? Tell us a bit of the details, and I have some of this stuff in the show notes too.
Yeah, sure. So, the vlog is super important, and people have really sent so many texts about the vlog, and that's on YouTube. That's at Dave Meadows for Barbecue. If you search that on YouTube, you can see every day. But the importance of the vlog is so many people have said that they have, people don't donate to charities, and when you send any funds or anything, you don't sort of physically see what it's being spent on.
Yep.
And so I've sort of really made a point of filming as much as I possibly can and really showing people back in Adelaide or everywhere that have sent us money on the GoFundMe page. I want people to see what their money is directly being spent on and the impact it's having. So, so as I said, YouTube at Dave Meadows Barbecue. If you want to go to the GoFundMe page, and help support us, that would be amazing. And if I totally understand if you can't afford to support, or because at the very least, if you could just share it, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
That's www.davemeadowsbarbecue.com/smoke and soul. So if you go to there, the GoFundMe page link is on there.
Yep.
And
beautiful.
The GoFundMe page is open still, and even though we're sort of getting to the back end of it, what I want to do is when we finish this, whatever money I have left over, I'm going to separate whatever I've got left evenly and send that to all the charities so we can continually help them even after this is over. So
wow.
And then finally Instagram at Dave Meadows Barbecue. I try and post on there as often as I can. And then the Facebook is facebook.com/DMBBQ is on there as well. So
beautiful.
And then the podcast as well. So
mate, you're everywhere. This is good.
The Smoke and Soul podcast. That's on Apple and Spotify. And I've partnered with one of the members from Royal Adelaide, who I didn't go to him. He came and saw me and said, he was happy to help us out. And and shout out to Wallace, his support not only for the podcast but just his support on the road, just being that person there that I can phone and just if I've got ideas or thoughts or things that have happened. He's just been unreal, and he's been a member at Royal Adelaide for years, and I know he's been sharing what's been happening with us to the other members at Royal. His support has been unreal.
No, we've got to do a shout out to Wallace Long because that's how we got in touch. Wallace shared your story with me, and that led me to you, mate, in this way to get you on the pod and share this amazing journey, but this amazing approach to this particular challenge in many people's lives that goes often unspoken, as I mentioned. Yep. And, mate, you are doing something special, something very special, and you're making a difference to people's lives. And, mate, hopefully you can continue to get some more support along the rest of this journey. Mate, I all I can say is my hat is off to you because what you're doing is amazing and incredibly selfless, and we don't see people take the opportunity to do this, take the time to do this and separate from their lives to be able to do this. I mean, you're taking your long service leave that you've earned from your time working at Royal Adelaide to go about this project. I mean, that says so much about you. It says so much about what this means to you as well and the difference that you're making to people. And I urge people, like I said, all the clickables will be in the show notes where I'll share it all, but go and support Dave in his journey. Follow it, share it around if you can't do anything, and if you're able to, do some support to the GoFundMe as well, Dave. Mate, look, it's humbling for me to have you on my podcast to share this. Someone from within our industry, and so many people in our industry do lots of different things over their times from time to time, but it's great that I can share your story and this particular project, the Smoke and Soul project that you're doing, mate, and with your family. Congratulations to you, congratulations to your family, and mate, you are making such a difference to so many people's lives. Hats off to you, mate, and it's been my pleasure and privilege to be able to share your story on my podcast, Dave. So thank you so much, and mate, I wish you well on the rest of your journey, and we'll keep in touch so I can keep sharing how it all finishes off as well. Dave Meadows, of course, Foreman at Royal Adelaide Golf Club. Thank you so much for being on the Golfing Greenkeeper podcast.
Thank you, mate.
Now, we're going to New Zealand. There's a bit of news coming out of New Zealand that's incredibly hot, ladies and gentlemen, and that is the New Zealand Women's Open, and it is back in town. Yes, that's right. The New Zealand Women's Open was played last time at Windross Farm, just outside Auckland, in 2017 and was won by Canadian Brooke Henderson. And it is coming back with a bang next year in 2027. It will have been a decade since it was last played. Now, it's set to be played at Waikanae Golf Club in March of next year, from the 18th to the 21st of March specifically. And Dame Lydia Ko is front and centre of the publicity to begin with at the moment. She's out on everything, and they have been pushing the announcement of the New Zealand Women's Open coming back. And rightly so that Dame Lydia Ko has been front and centre of the publicity, because she previously won the tournament 3 times in its history. Now, where and what is Waikanae Golf Club? Some of you may be asking. More so if you're not from New Zealand like myself. Well, Waikanae Golf Club is located about 40 kilometres north of Auckland City. It's not too far from the old Gulf Harbour Golf Club, which is no longer around. Unfortunately, it closed down back in 2023. But for some of you that know of that region north of Auckland, that's just about where Waikanae is. Waikanae opened in 2016 and was a new golf course built from the old Peninsula Golf Club, which moved its entire golf course as part of a land deal with a developer. They did a deal. Their golf course, Peninsula, was right near the coast, right near the beach, and they did this deal, and basically they sold their land. It became a housing development, and they got a whole new heap of land a little bit further to the west in beautiful farming country. Now, the course Waikanae Golf Course itself was designed by Puttycombe Golf, which is a Canadian-based golf course design company. Sid and son Grant made up Puttycombe Golf, and another New Zealand design of note from the firm is Terrace Downs Golf Course at the Fables Resort, which is located in New Zealand's South Island west of Christchurch, near the Rakaia Gorge of the Rakaia River, near the base of Mount Hutt. And some of you from Australia have probably heard of Mount Hutt. It's a ski part of New Zealand, a ski region, and many of the New Zealanders, I'm sure, in the audience listening have heard of Terrace Downs at Fables Resort. Here's a few details about Waikanae. The golf course itself is a par 72. It's listed as being 6,485 metres long from the back, and the surfaces are made up of brown top bent grass greens, couch fairways, and fescue roughs, according to their website. I've had to do a bit of research on this because I have no clue about Waikanae. And it's interesting when you start doing this bit of research, it gives you insights into what we will be expecting from the New Zealand Women's Open next year. Now, the golf course has holes that go across small ravines and creeks in the routing and the design. And the interesting part for me is that it has a relatively short par 4 to finish on the 18th. It's about a 300-metre long short par 4 to finish, which throws a lot of questions as to how people will play it. It's got a water body on the right-hand side of the fairway as it sort of half moons around, crescent shapes around that particular water body. It'll be very interesting. It's uphill to the green from the tee, so it's going to be very interesting to see the way the different players will attack that hole to finish their round and to finish the tournament. So I think it will be interesting to watch. This is all fantastic news to see the New Zealand Women's Open back on the map, and for Waikanae as well to be hosting the tournament next year. So very excited for this one. Very excited for our local region, this corner of the world, to have the New Zealand Women's Open back in the tournament season. And I'm sure it's going to be very exciting because we've got some wonderful high-profile females in Australia that will no doubt be starting in the tournament next year, which is going to be very exciting to see who will be starting and how it will all unfold. And a big welcome back to the New Zealand Women's Open. Now, a bit of an update I've come across from Pegasus Golf Club. You might remember that I had some news about Pegasus closing down. It was also actually a former host of the New Zealand Women's Open itself. But unfortunately, Pegasus closed down only a few months ago. I mentioned that once before. And the local residents around the golf course were trying hard to see if they could buy the property back from a developer who snapped it up. A local member of parliament is taking a petition that's got over 15,000 signatures. They're taking that petition to parliament this week, I believe, and we'll see what the outcome of that will be. I'll keep you posted, but look, it's an incredibly steep uphill battle for anything to change here. And the developers who've currently officially own the site have made it very clear that they will be applying to rezone the land of the golf course because their goal is to sell it as housing blocks. So, look, it's a sad outcome for Pegasus, but we'll keep you posted on how that's going to all unfold. One more coming from New Zealand and one that I've recently come across is Waikanae Golf Club, located in the town of Waikanae Beach, just to the north of Paraparaumu Beach. About 10 minutes drive, actually, north of Paraparaumu Beach. Now, at Waikanae Golf Club, they've been working on a new forward tee on their 17th hole. Now, the 17th hole is a shortish par 4, just over 300 metres long, and this new tee will give them more flexibility with marker positions, which in turn will, of course, improve the ability to spread the wear further around, allowing for an improved teeing surface. So these are good things when I see golf courses investing in more tee areas or enlarging tee areas, because it just gives them more opportunities to move the markers around. They're installing new irrigation to this new tee, and they're bringing it up from further down the fairway, about 150 odd metres, to get this irrigation to the new tee. So they're putting a lot of effort into this new addition on the golf course, and it might not sound like much, but it is a big deal. Lots of effort going into it, which to me says a lot about how the club does work on the golf course. They don't do things in halves, they do it properly. Now, I've never seen or heard of Waikanae Golf Club before, but looking into the golf course, my goodness, it looks unreal. New Zealand golf course architect Phil Tatarangi, who you recently heard about on my last Keeper of the Green segment with Superintendent Harry Middleton from Muriwai Golf Club, and the work that Phil has been involved with there redesigning parts of the golf course at Muriwai. Turns out Phil has also been involved with Waikanae in the past, doing a master plan for the club. So you could tell that they're doing things well and they're looking into things properly. Looking at the golf course on Google Earth, because that's my only way of doing it without an opportunity to fly there, it has an incredible looking creek system that meanders through the property, coming in from a beautiful natural wetland environment on the north side of the property. The creeks flow through the course, meandering around the holes in a number of different ways. It's incorporated into the course architecture. And a couple of the creeks come together in the golf course, and then they exit out behind the 17th green, and it flows out to the beach just a couple of streets beyond the golf course. Have a look at this golf course if you haven't before. It looks very interesting to me indeed, and clearly they're doing work to improve the course more and more. So a big tick and a big well done from me to everyone involved at Waikanae Golf Club, because it looks sensational as a golf course. And like I said, these improvements also tell you a story about how the golf club is functioning and working in the background, which is very good to see. Now we come back to Australia and we're going into Victoria. We're going to start in Victoria with some news that I absolutely love hearing, and that is that the WPGA, the Women's PGA of Australia, just announced that Neangar Park will be the new host venue for the WPGA Tour of Australasia's qualifying school on the 14th and 15th of December later on this year. Neangar Park is located in the regional city of Bendigo, about 150 kilometres to the northwest of Melbourne. And the course is in the suburb of Eagle Hawk in the north of Bendigo. Now, a tidbit for you about Bendigo. Bendigo is the fourth largest inland city of Australia. That's right, it's significant. They've got over 100,000 people in Bendigo, and it comes in at number 4 behind number 1 being Canberra in the ACT, number 2 Toowoomba in Queensland, number 3 is Ballarat, also in Victoria, then Bendigo is number 4, and Wagga Wagga comes in at number 5 in New South Wales. So they're the top 5, but There's a couple of golf courses in Bendigo, and Neangar Park is the one that the WPGA have selected for the qualifying school event later this year, which is sensational. Now, a little bit of detail about Neangar Park. The course is a par 71, with the longest version playing 5,631 metres from the back. As you might expect with a regional golf course, it's got the usual Aussie bush feel with gum trees scattered throughout, giving it a parkland-style feel with trees separating most of the holes. The course has water bodies, or dams if you like, but only one comes into play during your round, and that is on both the 9th and the 10th holes. The 10th is a par 3 with the water on the right side of the green. Just a couple of little details about the course. So, look, this is fantastic news, and congratulations to Neangar Park Golf Club in Bendigo on being the host of the WPGA Tour qualifying school event in December. Now we go to New South Wales, not too far out of Victoria. We're basically on the New South Wales-Victoria border. We go to Thaguna Golf Club in Albury, and they've been busy with their 11th green and putting greens being rebuilt. Now, the surfaces were cut and lifted on these greens, with the growing medium being replaced and finished surface details essentially being redesigned as part of the process. As far as I'm aware, the turf is going straight back down on these greens when it's all complete, and now it's growing time. They won't get much growing right now, but as things start to warm up, it will take off and be back in play in no time at all. That's the beauty of doing it with the turf you've just stripped. Well done to Thaguna, again on some more improvements that they're doing to their golf course, and in particular with these works on 11 and the putting green. Great to see for a very good named golf course down along the Murray River. Now we go to northern New South Wales, and we're going to head up to Yamba Golf and Country Club on the New South Wales North Coast, and it's about an hour and a half's drive north of Coffs Harbour. Now they've rebuilt their 4th green complex up there, and they've done it by enlarging the green and building a new greenside bunker as well. The 4th green is at the most southern point of the golf course. You can't get any further away from the clubhouse, and it's just a stone's throw over some vegetation essentially to the Pacific Ocean down there at the southern point of Yamba Golf Club. The green surface is 328 couch. Being up north, it's certainly couch greens in very warm climate. And this particular hole, the 4th hole, is a 290-metre par 4, which is the easiest hole on the golf course. It's a dogleg left that makes the green blind from the tee, so it's just enough around a few trees that you can't quite see the green surface itself, but it will be protected now with this little bit of redesign work and this new bunker as well. All is growing in now with the new green, and it won't be too long at all before the new green is open and ready for play. So well done to the team on course at Yamba Golf and Country Club up in northern New South Wales. Now we're going to head to the ACT, the nation's capital, with a stop in at Gold Creek Country Club in the northern suburb of Nichols in the nation's capital of Canberra. Superintendent Simon Snedden and his team have had some bunker work being completed on course on holes 12 and 13. They've removed one bunker on 12 altogether and have seen some redesigning of 2 others on the hole, and the 13th has seen the greenside bunker rebuilt as well. A new modern bunker liner is, of course, being incorporated into the construction of these bunkers, and it's all shaping up to be some great improvements to the course overall as they continue to work hard on improving Gold Creek more and more every season from what I'm seeing. Well done to Simon and his team on this work. Simon's been a guest on the podcast a few years ago now, so if you want to go back and listen to my interview with Simon, I'll have this one tagged in the show notes, ladies and gentlemen, but it was a great chat with Superintendent Simon Snedden, and he does a wonderful job there with his team at Gold Creek Country Club in the ACT. Now we're going to head across to WA for one final piece of information and news. That is to Merredin Golf Course, which is located 3 hours east of Perth, and that is a long way out of town. And they've recently received a new ride-on rotary mower. So this was a bit of a deal when I come across this one, because Merredin is a volunteer-maintained golf course. That's right, volunteers look after the golf course. It's a small regional town. It's 3 hours east of Perth on the way to Kalgoorlie. So we are out of Metro. We are out of what you would consider the normal climate of the southwest corner of WA. This is very much a drier part of the country. And it's a small regional town with a golf course that's, like I said, maintained by volunteers. Now, hats off to the golf club for getting to a place where they can afford to get a new mower, and this is a huge step up for the golf club. It's a harsh environment in that region. They don't always have lots of grass to mow, as you can imagine, but when it does grow, You want to be able to keep the course tidy and playable for everyone to enjoy. It's interesting, I've had a look at Google Earth and gone back in some of the years to see the ebbs and flows of the climate. And some of the times when they've got rain and everything's starting to grow in that region, my goodness, they have plenty of growth. But the opposite happens. It can be quite dry and pretty harsh climate for the most part. But well done to everyone involved at Merredin Golf Club for securing a brand new mower like this to help them on course. And it's these sorts of things that make regional small country golf courses perform better. They don't need a new mower regularly. They look after their golf course with their volunteer base of members and people in the local township. And it's a great space that they enjoy their golf. It's a social gathering point, a place to let the hair down, as you often hear me say about regional golf courses. And I've seen them, I know them, I've spoken to people in and around them. And they're a focal point. It's a great way to just have casual conversations. Leave the stresses of the world away outside the bounds of the golf course and enjoy a catch-up, enjoy a casual beer usually, and some fun having golf and enjoying the space. And often it's about the people. Often it's about connection because distance separates people a lot. They often work on their own or in very small work groups. And these opportunities to socialise and get together and catch up, have a laugh and have some fun is what happens. And again, like I mentioned, it's great to see a golf course like Merredin improving in any small way that they can, improving the way that they manage the golf course. So well done to Merredin. And that's a wrap-up for this segment of Dint Golf Solutions Walking the Fairways, episode 199. I've got to say a big thank you to Dave Meadows for coming on the pod and talking about his amazing Smoke and Soul project. What a selfless project he and his family are doing. What an incredible act of kindness and help to people in need. As you heard Dave say, it's just, I say hats off again to Dave and his family for the journey that they're embarking on at the moment, and a shout out to them in the midst of their journey. This is amazing, and look, he's doing something very special indeed. And if you can support Dave in any way, be it listening to his podcast or his vlog, sharing his journey, or even donating to his cause, and the links are in the show notes for you, or you can go to davemeadowsbarbecue.com, which is Dave Meadows, DaveMeadows, BBQ.com, davemeadowsbbq.com. That's the website. It'll be in the show notes, so you can just click it and go straight to it. It's got all the different parts of it, the podcast, the vlog, donation points, and lots of info about his Smoke and Soul project that he's embarking on this incredible journey in his own way to help people in need, which is amazing. Lots of clickables in the show notes. Please like, share, and subscribe the podcast, and I appreciate anything you can do to help me get the podcast around. A big thank you to Dint Golf Solutions for their partnership of this segment, Walking the Fairways. Make sure you check out their website for all the products they have available, in particular the tines. Like I mentioned, at this time of the year, they've got so many to pick from, all the shapes and sizes that you are looking for. You'll find something there that you need. I know that for a fact. Check them out at dint.com.au. Have a look at their website for everything available. Check them out on social media at Dint Golf Solutions on Facebook and dint.golf.solutions on Instagram. And if you need anything as well, don't forget you can just get in contact with Adam Dinty. But the website is so good because you can order through the website any time of the day or night that's convenient for you. If you haven't listened to it again, I did some work with Dint Golf Solutions, of course, on a special podcast, two-part podcast series, Royal Melbourne, behind the scenes of the Men's Australian Open. That is also available for you to listen to if you haven't already. Quite a remarkable podcast series that we did. It will be linked in the show notes as well, ladies and gentlemen. I'll leave you with it once again, one episode before the magic number 200. I got something special coming up for that. You hit 'em clean, we'll keep 'em green, and I'll catch up with you very soon.